You know, in the world of daytime TV, the supercouple is basically royalty, right? They're these epic romances that just define an entire era and keep us all glued to our screens for years. But what if I told you that one of the most iconic, most beloved soap opera couples of the 2000s was a complete and total accident? Let's get into the story of how a temporary plot device ended up becoming a daytime legend.
And you know what? This quote from Soap Opera Digest just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the magic of Slater and Kendall Hart from ABC's All My Children. Their story wasn't planned out. It wasn't some big, grand design from the start. Nope. It was a romance that was born from a temporary plot twist that, thanks to some absolutely undeniable chemistry and a super passionate fan base, just blossomed into this huge daytime phenomenon.
Okay, so to really understand how this incredible, happy accident even happened, we've got to go back a bit. We need to look at who these two were before their worlds ever collided. And let me tell you, they were two of the most complicated characters in Pine Valley, each carrying a mountain of baggage.
So what's wild about this is just how perfectly mismatched they seem on paper. On one side, you've got Kendall Hart. She's the long-lost daughter of the one and only Erica Kane, and she rolls into town as this complicated bad girl. She's driven by this mix of revenge for being given up for adoption and this desperate need for her mom's approval. Then on the other side, you've got Slater. He is the classic anti-hero, a total tortured soul who was actually born Alexander Cambius Jr., but faked his own death at 18 to escape a horrible past. He built this whole new life as a successful casino operator. So a schemer and a ghost? Yeah, not exactly a match made in heaven, right?
So how in the world did these two even end up in the same orbit, let alone in a romance? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Revenge. It all kicked off with a marriage of convenience that was never, ever supposed to be real.
Yeah, you heard that right. The original plan from the writers was for Zach to marry Kendall purely as a business deal. It was just a strategic move to get back at his son, Ethan, who also just so happened to be Kendall's ex. For the show's writers, this was nothing more than a temporary roadblock, a plot device meant to stir up drama for other relationships. It was never intended to be an actual love story.
But hey, this is a soap opera, and in a place like Pine Valley, nothing ever goes according to plan. A series of just absolutely chaotic, high-stakes storylines threw them together, and in that chaos, they forged a bond that nobody, especially the writers, ever saw coming.
And this just lays out the sheer madness of it all. First, Zach helps Kendall's ex, Ryan, fake his own death, and then lies to her face about it. Then, believing Ryan is dead, Kendall agrees to be a surrogate for him and her best friend, Greenlee. Zach, trying to protect Kendall, causes a town-wide blackout during the procedure, which, accidentally destroys Greenlee's eggs. This forces Kendall to use her own egg, which means she's now carrying her and Ryan's biological child. When a totally furious Greenlee finds out, she blows the whole secret up, exposing it to the entire town. So, through all of that betrayal, all of that drama and public humiliation, who was the one person Kendall had to lean on? Her husband in name only, Zach. All of a sudden, their fake marriage was the only stable thing in her entire life.
And this, right here, is where the story takes a massive turn. The on-screen chemistry between the actors, Thorsten Kaye and Alicia Minshew, was just undeniable. You couldn't miss it. Viewers saw it, they absolutely loved it, and they made their voices heard, loud and clear. That happy accident was about to become official.
And this is exactly what Zach and Kendall became. Fans jumped on it, quickly giving them their own ship name, Zendel. And all that passionate support turned a simple writer's plot device into a fan-driven phenomenon that the show just could not ignore anymore. They had accidentally created a textbook supercouple.
And what's the ultimate sign of a soap opera supercouple? A completely tumultuous, on-again, off-again romance. And this number 3, that's how many times Zach and Kendall would marry, divorce, and then remarry over the years. Their connection was just volatile and chaotic, but in the end, it was absolutely unbreakable.
So, what's the lasting impact of this accidental romance? Well, Zendal didn't just become popular, they became totally central to the entire show.
Their relationship became one of the main storylines for All My Children all the way until its finale. They were officially recognized by TV Guide Canada as one of the best supercouples in daytime. And their storylines were legendary. We're talking everything from murder plots to comas to Zach himself being presumed dead and brought back to life through this wild Orpheus project.
But maybe their most important legacy is how they proved the power of the audience. The writers created the scenario, sure, but the fans saw the chemistry. They demanded a love story, and in doing so, they basically co-authored one of the most iconic romances in daytime history.
So what really makes a fictional love story unforgettable? Is it a perfectly planned, beautifully written narrative? Or is it that unexpected spark that just catches fire and creates something totally real out of a complete accident? Well, the story of Zack and Kendall really suggests it's the latter. A happy accident that became a truly, truly unforgettable romance.